Hey everyone, what's going on? Colin C here from the Crypto Boys, back with another one. I want to get this video started right now. I want to get going. I want to go over obviously yesterday's stablecoin meetings. I want to go over the everything that happened with them. I obviously dove in as far as I could this morning and last night, and I came up with a decent video for you. There's not that much on YouTube right now on them, so I do want to get this out. There is a great video put out by Altcoin Daily, which is going to be similar, so I highly suggest checking out his channel. His channel is phenomenal, way further advanced than ours right now, but he's got some great content on there as well. So let's get into it. I want to get going right away. All right, guys. So obviously, as we know, pretty big day for crypto yesterday. And here's where I want to start with this article. What we learned from crypto's trip to Washington, morning brief. All right, I don't just want to read this article to you. You guys know me. I don't just read the article. I'm a terrible reader, by the way. But cryptocurrencies industry's major players and roles encounter skeptical yet noticeable polite questioning from Congress. One thing I do want to admit, I do want to add, and why I thought this was important. It was extremely polite conversation yesterday. If you watch it, I watched about 2.5 hours of it. It was a very good back and forth. It was something where I think that the crypto leaders in this industry were truly beginning to teach the congressmen and women what actually was going on, because a lot of them had no idea. If you listen to their questions, they had no clue what was actually happening. So the fact of the matter was, for them to be able to ask some legitimate questions and be willing to learn is already a step in the right direction. So let's go ahead and start moving on here. Um, One major takeaway emerges and most striking. Both camps fundamentally agree that oversight is a necessity. Here's one thing that I do want to add about that is regulations. Everybody's so scared of regulations, but I can tell you this right now, for crypto to be mass adopted, for it to happen in the way we want it to happen, the only way it's going to is if we integrate both systems. The end. We're not just going to get rid of all regulations and everybody's just going to switch to crypto. Unless we bring on Congress, unless we bring in the government in some sort of way, some sort of capacity, we're never going to get mass adopted. There is no way it's going to happen. It's impossible. They'll just cancel it. Everything beyond crypto will be gone, and there's going to be a new Satoshi somewhere else, and it's going to invent some new currency, right? And this whole process is going to start again. So again, there has to be some sort of give from us. There's got to be some sort of give from them, and then we've got to find somewhere in the middle to make this better. A little story for you. Me and my wife right now are building a house, right? And our mortgage lender is like, this dude is the best in the world. He's legit as can be, and we have taken forever to get our payment through because it has to go through this bank, this guy's desk, and this. I mean, it's 14 business days, and then half of them they don't work, and we got to pay our contractors. So again, I'm living the idea of, like, if we just had crypto, I could pay everybody right now with a click of a button. But we have to wait these 10, 15 days, which is crazy. So I'm already seeing it real world where crypto could literally help the space right now. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Um, Crypto's biggest appeal is obviously its decentralized nature. It's going to stay decentralized. But here's the thing, people. Let's be honest. It is already becoming a little bit more centralized every single day. Visa's picking it up. Google's sometimes thinking about picking it up. You got Elon Musk raving about it. I mean, no matter what, it's going to become a little bit more centralized as it's mass adopted. Centralized companies are buying crypto. I mean, what do you think's going to happen? Do you really think that it's just going to stay decentralized and everybody's just going to go away from the way they make money? No, we've got to figure out how to make those two come together. We really believe that having policyholders deeply understand the technology will help craft regulation here. I think that is massive. We have got to make it so where they understand what we're trying to do and they understand where we're trying to go. Because let's be honest, the government wants to make money. The people in the government, guess what they want to do? They want to also make money. Everything flows through money. It's just the way it is. So they want to know, how do I make money in crypto? And what's it going to do to my stock market? So there's a lot of questions that they're going to need to be answered before they just jump into it. As Morgan Stanley analysts warned, recently Bitcoin in particular is becoming more centralized, particularly bigger institutions like Visa. Already went over that, blah blah blah. As more institutions buy crypto exchanges and assets, crypto holders are held by fewer participants. That is true, but you got to remember, 80% of the Bitcoin that has already been bought 80% when Bitcoin was first bought is still held by those institutions are the people who bought it. So yeah, in crypto, it's a little different because you can have one person set up on leverage or whatever it is and really move that needle up and down and create big sell-offs or whatever it is versus in the stock market, one bad article comes out, this comes out, that comes out, and everything just dumps because this hedge fund is already shorting this market, or maybe one's running it up and then shorting it. So it's a lot less manipulated. But crypto is also 1% of the stock market, actually less than 1% of the stock market. So just think about the room we have to grow. It's pretty insane. All right, so that's the Yahoo Finance article I wanted to go over. I do want to get into Brian Brooks. I don't want to bore you guys with watching the entire thing, but there are some great clips in here. This is the first video I'm going to show.
Much more interactive, but much more centralized in Web 1, Web 2. What we're hearing now is Web 3. Policymakers need to understand the nature of Web 3. This is a hearing about a component of Web 3.
Web 1, Web 2, and now we're getting into Web 3. Essentially what that means is Web 1, you basically see what's on your screen, you can read it, it's a newspaper, right? That's Web 1. Web 2, you can start to interact. You can start to use the AOL AIM, you can start to digitize and you can, reply to people, blah, blah, blah. It's a lot easier. Web 3 is now what we're getting into.
Services, the computing power to the network that on Web 1 and 2 was done by Google, right? So now people in my hometown of Pueblo, Colorado can actually own the Ethereum network, but they can't own the internet. That's owned by Google and a few other companies. That's what the Project of Crypto is all about, is allowing people to directly own the networks that have native assets that are supporting it, and that's the nature of decentralization, where the token holders are the people who control the asset.
Okay.
So Mr. Brooks does this beautifully. Think about how big that is. He is talking about it allows you to actually own the network. Instead of Google, Facebook, Twitter, all these centralized entities owning the network and deciding what you can read, what you can type, and what you can present to the world, it is now Ethereum, right? So you can make the decisions based off of what you feel is best versus you just getting information that they're giving you. That is huge. That is huge. And I think he explains crypto to someone who is crypto dumb so easily. He's really impressed me. He's a CEO of Bitfury, so obviously he's got some experience, but he's pretty impressive. All right, let's get back into the couple other little segments I want to show.
Colorado can actually own the Ethereum network, but they can't own the internet. That's owned by Google and a few other companies. That's what the Project of Crypto is all about, is allowing people to directly own the networks that have native assets that are supporting it, and that's the nature of decentralization, where the token holders are the people who control the asset.
Okay. So
that is huge because it's the token holders that are going to hold and own that asset versus that centralized. So that's what he's saying there, reiterating it. I think that is absolutely massive.
it is about trillions of dollars of assets that did not exist before Satoshi wrote his white paper 13 years ago. It's about $3 trillion in notional value at this stage around the development of a whole new range, whole new suite of technology that will be developed across the globe, whether or not the United States embraces it and wants to compete, or if it's pushed offshore.
That right there is everything. Mr. McHenry says it perfectly. Regardless of what happens, and you push it and you keep pushing crypto offshores into other countries, it is going to happen. And it is going to flourish wherever it goes. And staying behind it and thinking that it's not going to be something that it's going to eventually become in 10, 20 years, even now, 5 years, very, very soon, it's just not smart policy. Again, you've got to look at it like the beginning of the internet. We are, 13 years in? 13 years in is baby steps. It is nothing. It is when a computer, the first Mac computer went from the size of this room I'm in to you can now have it on your phone. To your phone is now 10 million times stronger than the first computer that took up this entire room. So it is crazy to think that they wouldn't be on board, but it seems like they might be. All right, so the next clip I want to get into is Brian Brooks again. He's going back and forth with Ted Budd, who I think is pretty good, our congressman from North Carolina. So let's get into this one here real fast.
Fear is that this regulatory state, it's going to crack down on an industry that the regulators they really don't understand yet. And it's going to force the next generation of financial tech to be created outside of our country.
There's literally nothing more that needs to be said other than when you start thinking about the next generation of money and currency being created outside of the United States is going to be something that will have catastrophic implications if we decide to allow it to happen. So I think that's why these regulations and this meetings and this holding is truly happening right now, is to figure that out.
One of the things that makes crypto risky is that consumers may not understand the difference between one token and another token, and so they may want to diversify, much as I own an S&P 500 mutual fund. We don't allow that in the United States. We do allow it in Canada. We allow it in Germany, Singapore, Portugal, and a number of other places. So if you're a developer of those products, there's no fuzzy line. It's super clear. You can't do that here, so you have to go abroad, okay? There are some other places.
Can you say why we can't do that here?
Sure. It's because the Securities and Exchange Commission has consistently refused to approve products that other G20 nations have approved.
So we're behind the curve.
Unquestionably.
And boom, that is all you need to know. We are behind the curve by a lot. And the congressmen and women are starting to realize that this is going to happen regardless. And the fact of the matter is, if we don't start integrating a system together and working together, the mass adoption is never going to happen. Cryptocurrency is going to go away from the United States, and it's going to get built up somewhere else. And I can tell you this right now, then illegally things are going to start happening, that you're going to see them traded behind closed doors, and it is going to probably turn into that that idea of it being some sort of criminal act to have these coins back and forth. But again, unless we're able to create a successful environment for both things to thrive, even if that is starting to be mass adopted more towards the way of sending money and keeping currency by the crypto standards, I think that's all we all want, right? We want to be able to work in harmony to make it happen. So again, I just wanted to get on here. I know it was a little rough from the start because it's tough. I've never shot a video like this and trying to get you guys information immediately. We're going to watch all we can today. Joe and I will be back later today to hopefully sum up today's hearings. We really appreciate you guys being with the fittest crypto YouTube channel out there, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.